Like a fucking slave. I didn't come out here to work, and I did. So I'm tired.
All right, everyone, let's modulate. So we're modulating. See, my dad would say that, my late father, George. Let's modulate whenever he wanted to kind of tone down the volume of any particular conversation, usually preceding something that he wanted to say he thought was profound or funny or profoundly funny. And let's just say that, well, the apple didn't fall very far from that tree, let me tell you. So that's me, a way too handsomely professorial AI generation me on the right, and the lovely lady on the left there that I'm deep in conversation with is a cousin. And we're at the Thanksgiving Day dinner table there in 2018 in little Troy, Maine, little village or town of Troy, Maine. And everybody else is blah, blah, blah. And then she and I were having our own little blah, blah, blah session like we did quite often. And it changed my life. You see, my cousin was brilliant. I mean, literally brilliant. And smart and had unbelievable insight and instincts. And when she said something, I made it a habit to listen to what she said. So this is a depiction of me listening intently to what she is saying. And I can't tell you what was actually the genesis for her saying what I'm about to share. I don't remember that, but I can tell you word for word what it was she said that acted as the genesis of what I'm about to reveal. What she said was, with everything that's going on in law enforcement today, one sentence. How many words is that? How many? Wait, I'll get back to you. I got to count. 9 words. She spoke 9 words, and here's what those 9 words generated. Oh, but I better talk about context. The reason it matters to me, why that mattered to me at the time, I had been retired as a South Dakota game warden for a number of years, but I had served active duty for 23 years, again, as a South Dakota game warden. In the last 7 years of my career, I was the chief game warden for the state of South Dakota. So I had a really successful career and I worked my tail off. Well, when you put that kind of investment in, well, you're gonna end up kind of taking ownership. Returning to the Thanksgiving Day dinner table 2018, getting back into the conversation I had with my cousin, something had taken root based on what she had said with everything going on in law enforcement today. Now, this was November of 2018. By the time February of 2019 rolled around, that idea, something that she knew about law enforcement that even though I was retired, I was still too close to, that kept me from seeing or being objective. So that was ruminating for a couple of months or 3 months, whatever. And then I got to doing my own independent research. You know, I was checking YouTube videos out and going online and checking statistics and law enforcement numbers, contact numbers, complaints, lawsuits, the whole thing. And I was appalled. I was shocked. And it wasn't just the way that the police were so routinely violating people's rights. It's the way they treated people in general. And as a mad routine, it was horrible. Trust me, I never would have been able to get away with treating people like that, not as a matter of routine, certainly, as a South Dakota game warden. For decades, my former profession as a South Dakota game warden, we were under the microscope constantly all the way up to the level of the governor. I worked as a state employee. I worked in the executive branch. He was ultimately my boss. And most of the governors I worked under, they hated us. It's not that we were doing anything. We weren't being sued. We weren't hurting people. No excessive force. Nothing. Just existing. And to think I had to operate under that level of scrutiny all the time. We hadn't even done anything. And I see officers, as a matter of routine, treating people like shit. They come across as like unthinking, unfeeling, unblinking Terminator robots. without a care in the world. And then, of course, you give them qualified immunity, internal investigations, and police unions and tasers. Forget about it. I mean it, forget about it. There's no incentive for them to be accountable because the government has created a system. Well, now I'm preaching to the choir, I get it. But you're also seeing, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So what did this all generate, this conversation? February of 2019, I start work in earnest. I'm gathering information, and then I realize I'm going to write a book. So I did, and here's the book. And then I'll get into the effort that went into writing the book, because that kind of plays a role in what I'm getting at here with this video. Rise of the Oathbreakers. Yeah, Rise of the Oathbreakers. Now, I'd written 5 books before that. Those were my memoirs written under what was the Forgotten Law Men, plural, Law Men series. Thank you. But I was taking on police accountability, police corruption, bad policing, lack of accountability, police reform, knowing your rights. That's a whole different animal. So, but I was obviously motivated. Boy, was I motivated. You want me to prove how motivated? Okay, I'll prove it. So it was about 2 years of solid writing start to finish. And I calculated about 8,000 hours total. And if I paid myself minimum wage, it would have been $60,000 worth of work invested, which of course you don't do because you don't pay yourself, which is about 15 hours a day average for those 2+ years every day. I wouldn't even sleep at night a lot of nights. I just go through because I couldn't see anything. But I don't have writer's block. I have the opposite problem. So I might pass out at 9 a.m. the next morning in my recliner, but then I get right back to it. And then, after swearing up and down, oh, you'll never write anything like that again, another 300 pages, and what do? I up and do it all over again. So all those figures times 2. Not only that, but for this one, part 2, Rise of the Oathbreakers, I even drew my own illustrations. I did. I'll show you. And this one is near and dear because this is the first one I drew. This is the original Officer Dimwitty, even though I call the collection the Dimwitty Collection. There he is. And I came up with Officer Dimwitty, well, the name Dimwitty because of dim-witted. Dim-witted, Dimwitty. I thought that would be a little more, pleasing to the ear. But if you notice the subtitle, America's Crisis of Competency in Law Enforcement. So Officer Dimwitty was born. So where am I going with this, guys? I think you know. I can't do this anymore. I cannot afford another molecule in my heart of hatred toward my former profession, law enforcement. It's really become unhealthy, and I need to step away, and I mean for good. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to watch any more videos. I don't want to feel that rising anger, that bile in the back of my throat. It's not healthy. And like I wrote at the beginning, I've made a difference in some lives. I know that. God, this is tough. And you know how much I love you guys. Those of you were there right from the beginning and you stuck with me. But I've got to get out. I've got to take care of my health. And finally, after not being able to get anyone to put a name on my latest health crisis, my latest malady, the last few years, I finally have a name, and it's chronic Lyme disease, as though I needed that. And that's, on top of what I've been through. And I'm talking stuff that's comparable to Battlefield more than once. And I can't. I can't have my immune system being weighted down with the stress that comes along with hate. And I do. And that, if I can't be honest with you guys, well, I'm not going to be able to be honest with myself. So I'm going to create distance. And I I thought I'd say something like I'll see you in some of the comment sections, but that would mean I'm watching videos, and I don't want to do that, the best of my ability anyway. So I'm I'm out. And this video is to say that I'm out and I need to stay out, but you guys will always be in my heart. I love you guys. You take care. And above all else, stay safe.